Yo, what's good, everybody? Today is December 9th, 2025. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we actually got that you will bless our conversation, oh God. We actually got that you will bless our viewers and their families as well. We just actually that you will continue to guide us and keep us. In Jesus' precious name we pray, amen. Yo, what's good, everybody? It's been a minute. I'm not quite sure you guys can hear. I'm still trying to get over my cold. Waiting for some of you guys to come in. Got a few questions. We're gonna talk about this reckoning. Uh, Plus, Sam will be joining us soon. Uh, I want to say congratulations and happy born day to everybody that celebrated over this previous week. My homeboy Marky, whose born day is today. Miss Radina Neely as well, and everybody else that celebrated over the last couple of weeks. Actually, it's been a while since we've been together. Um, I was just totally out of it last week. I didn't have a voice or anything else, but persevered and said we're gonna get it together for the day. Um, as well as oh yeah, we got quite a few board days. Yeah, my cousin Jardiana, Natasha Waterman, Augustine, Anissa Wiley. Hey, was good. Happy born day, girl. Bishop Charles Millette, my man Rodney Williams, my brother Eric Bennett, my man Warren Caldwell, who shared the same born day. Karen Richards, Joe Kenny, Martha Cunningham, Anthony White, Pastor Lamont Cooper, Christina Pizzario, happy born day again, girl. Angel Hell, and Miss Jen Oliver died. Happy born day to all you get all. I've seen a couple of people celebrating anniversaries too, so congratulations to you guys. I know Bishop Wooden and First Lady Pamela Wooden, they celebrated 45 years of marriage. So hats off to them. That's a lifetime. That's a journey. Congratulations to them as well, and everybody else. How was everybody holiday? Did you guys enjoy your holiday festivities last week or the week before? We didn't get a chance to get together. Hey, what's good, Sam?
What's going on?
Man, another day, man. Happy to be here, persevering. Got my orange juice tonight instead of water. Trying to get my voice back and recover a little bit.
Yeah, this is the type of weather also that'll catch up with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And this work schedule, it ain't helping none at all. It all started Thanksgiving Day. I was in with the family, and we were at my aunt's house, and it was extremely hot in there. You know how it is when us color folk get together.
Yeah,
I walked outside. I mean, I would take about 30 seconds to walk to my car, and it hit me just that quick because the temperature dropped that afternoon. Then the next day it was like super cold. But yeah, man, this weather is tricky. It's supposed to get down into the teens. I seen back home, so at least we're not as bad as those guys. But the 20s in here is worse. It's bad enough. It's cold out there. So
yeah,
everybody stay vigilant, stay warm, you know, and stay bundled up. You'd rather take layers off than that need more. Um, but how was your holiday, man?
oh, it was great. The in-laws were up. Had definitely had enough to eat. But I'm at a point where I'm trying to just not go back for seconds. Just just eat first. That's my thing going into the new year. But
Mm,
I'm not waiting for New Year's. Just waiting. So whatever I have on my plate, that's it. I just hold off to the next day to get something. So that's something I'm gonna try this year.
okay.
But it
I
was good. Family, the in-laws was up, and just been back and forth to Greensboro trying to get the house out there ready, and that's it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know good and well ain't none of y'all got. I was ready to crack jokes last week, but I know ain't none of y'all still eating none of that Thanksgiving food. I was saying so. I made that post, and I was seeing people talking about putting it in the freezer and the food too expensive to be throwing stuff away. All right, keep eating that. Keep eating that food all them days later, a week later, and see if you don't pay. You might not be paying for food no more, but you're gonna be paying for the hospital bill. You get the
Yeah.
worms, and stomach started turning and everything else. And black people, let me inform y'all of this too. Just because you put stuff in the freezer doesn't mean that it extends the, the life of the warranty. Yeah, freezing works, but it doesn't just like mute the point that this food is still gonna go bad.
Yeah.
Black people, we got this way of thinking that as long as it go in the freezer, we good. You can't put no meat in no freezer for a whole year, then throw it out and unthaw it and try to eat it. You better be make sure you saying your grace.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, man, I kind of wanted to get into. I ain't want to be too long. I wanted to get into the a little bit of this Diddy thing, the reckoning and 50, and hear you guys take on that. You guys get in the comments. Let me know who's out there viewing, as well. I wanted to talk a little bit about Shador too. What's been transpiring in Cleveland, as well as Chris Paul. You know, this Chris Paul treatment. The saga continues, so to speak. We can start with Chris, man. What you think? What you think going on with that situation, man?
I think when it comes to Chris, like he's had a long year. I think over 20 years, right?
Yeah, close. Yeah, yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think, it's one of those things. Like I remember uh people said Jordan was the hardest to deal with, and then Kobe was hard to deal with. Um and sometimes like when you want to win, like you're not there to make friends. You there to win championships.
Hmm.
And I think I heard a lot of people saying Chris Paul was like kind of negative and things, but I'll be honest with you, when you on especially when it's officially your last year, you just want things to be cool, you want things to be calm, you just want to go out and get your props, not sitting at home watching games.
Hmm.
And I don't know what he said to Tyronn Lue, but it's hard to judge the situation for me, not knowing all the context of it.
Hmm.
But just generally, as a general fan looking from the outside in, that was kind of cold blooded.
Yeah, and to me, it's levels to it because I agree with what you're saying on one hand, but at the same time too, I think it's about keeping it real with yourself first and foremost.
Hmm.
You potentially might be a Hall of Famer. That's to be determined. But you mentioned like working with Kobe, playing with Kobe and Mike and things of that nature. There, Chris Paul, as much as a point guard you are, you're not on that level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And like you say, when you get to that, when you get to the point of when you're in retirement and things of that nature, there you got to realize you're not the player that you once were. And these young dudes is different. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear about you and Blake Griffin in Live City and what you did back in when they was in third grade. Like,
yeah,
you're like, yo, go sit down somewhere. And you have to be willing, as a player, as a coach, and as a man in general, you have to be able to adjust to the times. You know what I mean? In the
yeah,
scenario that you're in, like I can't conduct myself like it's 1993. Hey, what's good, Jew? You know what I mean? I gotta progress with time. And I think that's part of the Chris Paul situation. Again, like I said, I don't know inside or have any particular information. I didn't even know that they had let him go until I seen something on one of my feeds. Um, they said it was like in the middle of the night at that. But Chris Paul, from what I've seen of him and things that I've heard about him, he definitely seems like somebody that's hard to work with, or can be hard to work with, and doesn't realize that you're not the player that you once were.
Yeah.
So, you have to take that into consideration too. Tom Brady. I was listening to something the other day, and they were saying that Daniel Jones is out for the season. So the Colts were bringing in and Philip Rivers to give him a try. I'm like, hold up, like, is it another Philip Rivers, or are we talking about the Philip Rivers that came out with Eli Manning that retired in like 2010?
Yeah. NC State, Philip Rivers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what? So I'm quite sure if Philip Rivers, he won't come into this situation like it's 20 years ago. So like I said, you just got to progress with the times. So I feel bad for him, but sometimes you got to let things go. And
Yeah.
to me, it says a lot when nobody wants to play with you. He done been to Phoenix, he done been back to the Clippers. It seems like everywhere
New
Chris
Orleans.
goes, yeah, it's like everywhere he goes, it's like, oh man, we play with you, not for you. You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
not the coach. So, I hope everything works out for him. But even if it doesn't, even as he doesn't find himself on another team, he definitely had a stellar career. Hats off to him. But yeah. And then with Shador, I stand corrected. Like the more and more he plays, he's looking better and better. I give him that. However, I still don't think that he's going to be a great player. I think he got the potential to be a good player, especially if they keep on trying with him. But I really want to know, outside of football, I really want to know what it is going on with this coach. Like, what is it? Like, do him and Dion got some history that we don't know about? Like, what is going on for him to? I didn't see any football Sunday. I was slept all day. Um, I ain't even see any highlights. But I was listening to different shows and different podcasts or whatever have you, and they were saying that he started the game and they pulled him in the fourth quarter, robbing him of an opportunity for a comeback win. And not only that, after the game is over, the head coach announces that he's going to be the starter for the remainder of the season. Like,
It's only 4 more games.
yeah, but it's like, why would you pull him in the fourth quarter? You know what I'm saying, for a potential game-winning drive, but then come back after the game. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. So it's definitely going on something. And I always go back to what I was saying. Hey, what's good, Dorothy? I always go back to what I was saying. I think this has more to do with Dion than Shador. I really think that is the league way of saying, because, you know, and like I said, I always said it. I said it from the draft, but before the draft. I think Dion damaged, he tainted, rather. I won't say damaged, but he tainted Shador's future with his little pre uh media circus, going on all these different talk shows, and yeah, man, we got another year eligibility. We going, like, you can't do that to the NFL, yo. You
Yeah.
can't do that to the NFL. Your playing career is over. You're jeopardizing your son's future, because you can't tell these billionaire folk what to do. Oh, you gonna tell us that, oh, who your son gonna play for, who he not gonna play for? And again, we're not talking about we're not even talking about Travis Hunter, who was arguably one of the top football players, whatever. Both sides of the ball here and there. Hey, Drew, can you guys see two of me? Is it like two screens? Is it a vertical and a horizontal? That's what I was waiting to ask somebody, because I just wanted to make sure it's not like that on you guys. And
It's not. That's
okay,
a new update to
StreamYard, yeah, I
StreamYard.
hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a lot of people that's starting to do content. They're setting up 2 screens now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're trying to. I think on the next update is probably gonna, they're probably gonna correct it. But that kind of like threw me off too. so
Yeah,
it's
I
not good.
hate the I hate it's called Mars or something. I can't stand it.
Yeah,
But I noticed when I was talking about the pixelation and the other shows before, like it show only shows up when I'm on a single camera. You know what I mean? As opposed to having both of them on horizontal. So it's like just distracting, but I got both of them on. I just wanted to make sure that the viewers aren't seeing two of us, you know what I mean, at the same time.
yeah.
Hey, what's good, Jennifer? You said you can't see me? Like at all? What about you, June and Dorothy? Yeah. But Shador, man, like I said, I hope the best for him. Um, I hope he takes the advantage of it, and I think that he's humbling himself too. And it's like I think a lot of in terms of LeBron. Like I've never been a LeBron fan, but I don't take away from his capability and the talent that he is. But one of the things that you see black, you can't see Sam either.
Yeah, I see everything. I'm looking on Facebook. I see us. I got to open on YouTube.
Okay,
Um, everything, YouTube has that little 3 to 5 second, lag.
okay,
Just in
gotcha.
case we say something out of pocket, they mute it, the algorithm.
All right, yeah, I don't know what's up, Jen. Yeah, because I just checked on my YouTube too. I see that. I see it's pretty good. Um,
Yeah, see if she can post. I just posted in the comments the YouTube.
hmm
See if Jennifer can try that link to see if that, does something. But
okay, yeah, I
real
just
quick,
see it. Good.
yeah, real quick before you get into Shador, um, before you finish, people act people are not looking at. Let's look at the last 3 games that he's played, right? You look at the last 3 games. The first game where he came and started, it was against the Raiders. What's the
hmm
Raiders' record?
Yeah,
What's
they
their
was like,
ranking in defense?
yeah, they only had like 2 wins at that time.
Yeah, but they're like, I think in the bottom 5 in defense.
hmm
And Shador led that run and they beat him 24-10. Now, given Cleveland got one of they're in the top 5 when it comes to defense. Garrett is doing this thing.
Yeah,
So
he's leading the
the
league
thing
with
is,
stats.
we look at the numbers, and yeah, he is throwing great numbers. But when you look at when they played the Browns, he threw for
They are the Browns. I
I
mean
mean,
Cincinnati.
when they played the Raiders,
Okay.
right? Shador threw for 200 yards, right? An interception, a sack. They dropped the game, but he did better,
hmm
because they won 24-10. But it wasn't against the 49ers, because when you look at the next game that he played against the 49ers, it was he threw for 150 yards a whole game, just 150 yards,
Okay,
one
Jay. Right.
TD, 3 sacks. So let's go to the last game against the Titans. I think the Titans are the last in defense. I think the only good player they got is Sebastian Joseph Day that won the championship with the Rams. He D tackle or nose. Sebastian's the best thing they got on defense. Now he threw for all them yards, but the thing is he putting up those numbers against the bottom of the league, but people talking like he the greatest thing since sliced bread.
hmm
And that's the thing, people were saying I was hating because I would I felt he shouldn't have had his jersey retired at Colorado.
I agree.
I'm like, you're expecting a Heisman Trophy level, like people are talking like he's like Heisman Trophy level, and he's not. I think he's a good QB, but every time he has been tested against a decent defense, the stats don't. When they played the 49ers, his stats reflect that. Yeah, he threw for 300 yards the last game, but the team that he threw that against was 1-11. Last place when it comes to defense. So I think with the head coach basically saying, we're gonna ride out with Shador the rest of the season, because it's basically like this season's a wash. They hoping to get like get a pick in the lottery, you know, in the lottery coming up, because if you like at the bottom of the barrel, you get more, that lottery, you get more balls in the basket.
Hmm.
So I think basically that's the play. Um, I don't
Well, they
really
can't
think.
get but so far because they can't get no worse than us or Tennessee.
Oh yeah, you right, but I mean, at least they guaranteed a top five pick. With the way they plan, they're gonna in the draft, they're gonna get at least one of the top five position. They're gonna get one of those selections. And so I really don't think it's necessarily Dion versus the coach. Yeah, Dion said a lot of stuff out of pocket, like if he go, Cleveland's a place where people go to end their career, and like he's saying all this before the draft, and it's like I don't think if the coach was really salty, Shador wouldn't be playing at all. I don't think he would be getting a minute of playing time. But I just think the coach is like, we rebuild him right now, and that's it. So we're basically experimenting with some things. And yeah, they missed the 2-point conversion. He pulled Shador out. But remember earlier in the game, they tried for a 2-point conversion and Shador didn't get it. So he's like, let me just try something. We're seeing what our guys can do, and that's it. Like, I don't think whether it was win or loss, they only got 4 more games. So I think letting Shador, I honestly think like when they come out of training camp next year, I think Gabriel's still going to be the starter. I just think right now they're doing PR, so, and Shador, I still don't think he's humble. He got that persona legendary,
Hmm.
but you get messed up and you holding your wrist up and y'all lost the game. Tom Brady never celebrated anything and they lost the game. Michael Vick never celebrated anything. The only other player that I think would do stuff like that was Cam Newton. Lamar Jackson don't celebrate unless they win the game. Shador moving like I'm him. Like, and it's the worst defense you playing against. And that's the issue that I have with him. It's not, I don't think it's hating. To me, it's just being real.
She said, "I bet." Jen said, "I bet the Cleveland Browns wish they had started him early." Dorothy said, "Funny basketball post." Yeah, that joint had me cracking up too. My Jets will take him. The Jets will take anybody. The Jets is garbage too. um, but I disagree with what you on your take on the coach. I think me personally, I think that is beyond. I think it's beyond his decision at this point. I think it's coming from management. Like, look, we got to salvage as much of the season as possible. We got to give the fans what they want from a business standpoint. Shador, I believe that Shador has like the number one selling jersey in the league as a fifth round pick. You know what I mean? So outside of football, and that's what I was going. That's the point I was making about earlier. When I do agree with you that he's not humble. It's like one of the things about LeBron. I could go back to LeBron and off the top of my head, Russell Westbrook too. I remember when Russell Westbrook in his second year, I said, listen, if this dude could ever get it together, this dude is going to be a Hall of Famer, have a stellar career. And the same thing with LeBron. Like, one of the things that I used to always say about LeBron, not even being a fan, was like, it's crazy to me that the biggest knock that you would hear on LeBron before these last 5 years or so,
7.
it was always he got to take bigger shots. He's too unselfish. You know what I mean? And I'm like, at the end of the day, I started to realize, and it's part of getting older and mature. He said, people are not going to conform to what you want them to be. I wanted to see LeBron have like that Kobe killer mentality, that Mike will to win. Either you got it or you don't. Shador is just being Shador. It's hard for me to, even though I don't agree with it, it's hard for me to expect him to change who he naturally is. Even when they did the TV show on OWN, when he was like 8 or 9 years old, you know what his nickname was? They always called him Grown. Like Shador, he's always been who he is now. So I can't conform. I can't ask you to change who you are at the core of yourself and say, "Listen, I need you to be humble," when you've never been humble in your whole entire life. Even if that's what's necessary for you to get to where you want to be, you know what I'm saying? So I can't really fault him for that. My teams beat their butts. Yeah. Hey, Dorothy, I meant to tell you too. You and Jew, you guys both of them little fans. So that's another thing that your guys got in common. Y'all always support the show, but y'all both like the Dolphins. It's very rare that you meet a Dolphin fan. They paid that young man $40 million and he out for the season. First round. LeBron do not have that killer instinct. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Drew.
Who's out for the season?
Huh?
Who's out? Who is she talking about?
I believe. I don't know. Yeah, who are you talking about? Jay?
Because it's not Dylan Gabriel. He was out for two games for concussion protocol, but because Shador had already played and he played decent, they just said, we're gonna write this season off and they basically resting Gabriel. So
and then
I'm not sure.
When you said that too, saying that, this is why I disagree with that too, because I was watching something. One, they got to figure out what they're going to do with Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson is still making a busload of money, and they're not going to just let him. You know what I mean? If he's available,
he's the old Deshaun. I can tell you, he's already said what his role was. His role is to mentor the young quarterbacks like Jameis Winston and Jackson Dart. Jameis, if he get in, he get in. But they got him in there to basically mentor those other guys. That's why you would see when Shador was on the sideline, even when Dylan Gabriel was on the sideline, Deshaun was right there like he was a QB coach.
Oh, you talking about Lawrence, Jacksonville?
Well, I know Travis Hunter is out for the season.
Yeah, that's who you talking about, Travis Hunter.
Yeah, but I told people, I said they got a parlay that a lot of people hit, and mine was only like a couple $100 because I got scared. But it was, will Travis Hunter play a full regular season? And I was voting against it because when you play both sides of the ball, I don't care who you are, your body takes that toll. So as long as he continues to try to play both sides of the ball, I don't think he'll ever see a full season. And that's not hating, that's just a fact. And people say, well, Deion did it. No, Deion was a DB almost his whole career until it was the end where he just told them, hey, let me try wide receiver. He's like, if I get interceptions, I can definitely catch the ball. And that's all. So they act like Deion played both sides his whole career. He didn't do that. The speed of the pro game is completely different.
Yeah, I think he'd be all right. I mean, I don't know if he will. It's still to be determined. All I know is that I don't care who you are, unless you're playing on a video game, you can't play full time on both sides of the ball. Like even with Deion, when we play receiver, it was like third down situations here and there. It wasn't like he was playing both sides of the ball for the entire game. They're gonna have to figure that situation out with Travis. But what you were saying about Deshaun Watson, I hear it and it sound good. Listen, there ain't no organization paying nobody $230 million to be no assistant coach on the bench. If I'm paying you that money, you gonna get your butt out there on that field.
Oh yeah, but they restructured just like Tom Brady did when he was at Tampa. Tom Brady was getting almost 50 million a year. But so they can re-sign people. He said, "Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to restructure my contract. So instead of you still owing me 250 million over 3 years or 4 years, we're going to extend that out for 10 years. So you still under the salary cap. That's why like people like Gilbert Arenas ain't played in the league in 10 years. He's still getting paid from his contract restructure with the Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
It's guys that's playing that's been sitting at home doing podcasts, been out the league for 5-10 years, and they still getting that check because teams will restructure it with them.
Yeah, he'll still get his money, Jen. It wasn't like he just quit or the team let him go. That's different. If you get injured, you still get
Yeah,
paid.
the only thing Travis not gonna get, this is how they're starting to do NFL contracts now. What
Incentives,
they're
yeah.
doing is the biggest money comes from, like, let's say if Travis Hunter
Incentives.
get all rookie team,
Yeah.
he gets a bonus. If he gets at least 5 interceptions during the season,
You
that's
get another.
200K. If he
Yeah.
scores a touch, like they're starting to load everything because they have a lot of players now that's sitting on that big money and they
Mm-hmm.
won't give 100%. They're like, I'm getting paid anyway. So they started doing, that's why you remember when Tampa Bay was playing and Gronk they was shutting it down. Tom Brady went to the bench. And Gronk was like, man, I need one more pass for over 10
Mm-hmm.
yards to get my
Yeah.
$1 million bonus. And
It's
Tom
been like
Brady,
that for a while now.
yeah, but Brady checked back in the game. Gronk got that thing and he all on the sideline. He's like, yeah, I got my money. I got,
Mm-hmm.
So they've been loading all the contracts like that because that's the only way they can work under the salary cap.
They need to get rid of it, period. In my opinion.
Man, it'll get so dang on crazy. Like, I guess, I think in a way it's working the way they're doing it because it's forcing. I think how many teams in the last 6 years have won a Super Bowl? Only one team has won it twice, but it's been four. It's been five different teams that's won the last six Super Bowls. It's
Nah, well,
those.
you got Kansas City. Kansas City got what, 3 of them?
No, they
Philly got
won
2 of
two.
them, and Philly got 2. So you talking about
No, the last 6 years,
yeah,
Philly just got one.
Philly won in what, 18, 19?
I think it was
They won one
18.
without Jalen Hurts.
Well, I'm talking about what 2029. I mean, 2019 to now is the 6 years. So I was like, I didn't think in the last 6 years when I was looking, it's been like five different teams.
Let me see, Super Bowl champions. Um, see Philly. This 20. All right, so Philly lost one of the last one. Kansas City won the 2 before that. The
Oh, you're
Rams.
right. Kansas City got two.
Yeah, I know Kansas City got 2. Kansas City actually got 3. Kansas
Oh
City
yeah,
won in
yeah. I'm talking about
2020.
the.
Tampa Bay, the Rams, Kansas City, and Philly. So it was 18 when Philly won their first one. But the last 5 has been Philly, Kansas City, the Rams, and Tampa Bay.
I think it'll be more like the NBA where teams are gonna have to be broken up because of that money. And I think it's going to be harder to, like, unless they're willing to pay that dang on penalty, the luxury tax. And up until now, let's say in baseball, the only teams that basically in baseball that ignore the luxury tax are the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Exactly, and that's the point I was going to make. Like, and people always hate on my Yankees, talking about all they do is buy championships. That's what you get. That's what you're a billionaire for. That's why
Hey,
I don't agree with salary caps. You know what I mean? Like if you got the money to spend it on the best players.
Well, they as long as you're willing to pay that penalty, because I think one year the penalty they paid, their luxury tax was like $250 million they had to pay.
Yeah,
And
but
the
either
thing
way,
is, yeah,
that's rich people problems. I don't
yeah, I
really
know,
concern
right?
myself with it like that. But I wanted to get into before we got about it. I wanted to get into this reckoning. I want to hear you guys take on this whole Diddy situation because I find it interesting. I seen a couple of posts by several different people, and the gist of it was I don't understand why you want to knock a black man while he's there. I want to talk about that for just a second. Stuff like that bothers me. You know what I mean? It's like, or statements like that. And here's why. It's one thing if someone has been accused of something and it hasn't been proven. But we've seen Diddy's behavior and things that he's been engaged in time and time again. I don't understand how you talking about it is tearing a black man down. I don't care whether it's black or white. Are you if he's found guilty of such and such things the things that he's been found guilty of, acquitted on everything else, is that not fair game? Like, what do you guys think about that? And I wish I could go back on record, like since the '90s, since day one. I have never been a Diddy fan. Like, I've always said it since 20 since in the '90s. I honestly believe that Diddy and Suge was in cahoots at some point in time, and I believe that they both had something to do with the demise of Biggie and Pac. This ain't got nothing to do with the reckoning. This ain't got nothing to do with all the stuff that came out. I've been saying this since back then because when you looked at it, who was the biggest benefactor other than Diddy? And the reason that I say that is because it was all well, I've seen it. You just don't really get to see because Big is not here, so you don't get to hear his side of it. But they were supposed to be coming out with the conglomerate, which supposedly Biggie was leaving Bad Boy, Big, Jay-Z, Charlie Baltimore, and I believe two other people. They were starting their own company, which means Big was going to be off of Bad Boy. And it was footage way back in the '90s where Big was talking about, man, yeah, he giving me $200 socks, man. I don't need no money. I need money. I don't need no $200 socks. I need the money that he owed me. You know what I mean? So it was
Biggie was
always
spending,
turmoil.
yeah, Biggie was spending time in Greensboro when he was pushing weight.
Yeah, and Raleigh. He was rocked up there in Wake County. He even talked about it on one of his songs. He talked about being at Wake County. I forgot what song it is, but he got an actual couple of bars in there about that. Um, so if you think about it, if Puff don't have no Biggie, does Bad Boy ever become Bad Boy? If Big and Jay-Z come together, just think about how hip hop will be forever changed because there would have never been no Rockefeller as we know it. You know what I'm saying? So many different things would have changed. And even when you watching some, I haven't even finished the whole documentary, but it's funny to me how you see it all the time. And I was like, I wanted to know this, but you can't really answer. A lot of people can't answer that's in relationships. But let's say your wife wants to be a singer or your significant other wants to be a singer, but you know they have no vocal skills whatsoever. How do you talk about you supposed to support one another's dream and this and that there. But if you can't sing, baby, if I really love you, I should be able to tell you that as much as you love to sing, you have no talent. Like, you need to do something. You need to find another way to exert yourself because this ain't it. Like Puff, I was so fan, even though it was they tried to create it, it was never no East Coast, West Coast. It was more or less big and shook. I always said I was not mad at Suge Knight for what he did at the Source Awards. Cause I used to say it all the time. Like, why is Puffy in every video? Like, why is he it just he, he always up here dancing? Like, I know I would get tired of it. Me personally. You know what I mean? Like, you have nothing to do. You don't write no rhymes. And then when he came out as a rapper, we know he ain't writing none of those rhymes. I have never heard no. I can't tell you one Dirty Money song. But you want to be a celebrity so bad. You want to be a musician so bad. But everybody they always said it. Think about it. I always say Puff was. And my god brother, he used to always laugh at this. I said Puff ain't nobody but a glorified me. And what I mean by that is, if I had that type of money, I could go get copyrights for some of the greatest hits ever and have people lay verses over. That doesn't make me no great producer. Puffy is not. He hasn't even been a great producer. Every one of his songs that ever made it big was originally somebody else's song. Sting, all of Mary J, all the stuff that he started out with in the beginning was always beats, and he never created a beat whatsoever. You're not Timbaland, you're not Dr. Dre, like, but you have this name, you created this facade, and I'm waiting to still. I want to hear what y'all guys take is in the comments. Now, and I have no proof of this whatsoever, but the climate that we live in today, I would not be one bit surprised if this whole thing was conjured up and Diddy and 50 was working together.
Well, look what 50 do. 50 do that on purpose to create, to create, the interest. And
That's my point.
I think when it comes to like the Diddy situation, I wasn't never a fan of his, but I would be capped if I ain't say he was. I mean, when I had that Punch 150 with the 212 band pass box in the back of my car, I mean, I didn't listen to music for the content. I listened to it because I wanted to ride through Fort Bragg and ride through all the parking lots going down Gruber Road, setting off car alarms. But the thing is, I think how you have DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled ain't a producer. He's like Kurt Franklin. He's a conductor. Like he gets a lot of people together. And he's just he's like making formal mixtapes. And I think Puffy was that same way, but I mean, when I used to bump Total, I used to bump 112, I used to, like Puff had some, I think Biggie was the one who started that because that allowed him to get that capital to step out on his own because he was still under Atlantic. It was just a sub label. Like when Eminem signed 50, Eminem was like, I'm not just going to sign you to Shady Records. I'm going to sign you and you're going to need to start your own label, G Unit. That way you get more of it, and that's what, so I think it's one of those things that I think Puff did what he did. I'm not sure if I would call him a producer, but, sometimes when you have that ear for whatever's going to be out there, I mean, he had some top. Um, he had some stuff like who was that? Junior Mafia. Um, I mean, they have some bangers, like especially 112. Man, I made so many tapes, that I used to send to females, and 112 was always on there. Like, so I think I'm not gonna hate. I just think the money ran out, just like with the R. Kelly situation. The money ran out, the 10 years was up, and those people were like, what is he gonna do? So they went after money. It was a money grab. And I think Puffy was that same thing. And I knew the door was closing on him when he started offering people their masters. But one of the girls in one of the TV groups he had started, Aubrey something. She said
RBO.
in order to get your masters or get the rights back to your masters, you had to sign an NDA that you wouldn't sue Puffy, Bad Boy, or Sony Records. Why is Sony Records in it? Because they knew everything that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you making good music, them Jewish guys up there didn't care. As long as you put money in their pocket, they let you do all that you want. But she said she didn't sign because she knew something was coming out. But I just think it's one of those things that when I look at it, I haven't watched it. My wife has, but when they talk about the footage, I think Puff thought he was gonna come back. It was gonna be a comeback documentary, and then the guy that was recording everything, Puff didn't pay him. So he put it on the market, and 50 bought it and contacted Netflix and like, look, hey, we can start this. Because I think 50 is gonna give the rights to like the power and all that. He's gonna have it on Netflix. He's about to make his money. But I just think 50, he can be the biggest troll. Like when they say he did the interview just on ABC, because ABC is one of the networks that you can watch in prison.
Yeah.
Like 50 thinks about little stuff like that.
No, he King Petty. I call him King Petty, but
Yeah.
I think sometimes I be giving him too much credit because from that aspect, I would not be surprised if it comes out years and years from now that this was something that they concocted together. Because
Yeah.
my brother sent me some footage. I believe it's from like 2009, where Puff and 50 is going at it together, and they doing this here back and forth, and they battling, they playing with each other, and 50 go, excuse me, and these are my friends. If my friends are treating me like this, like you on record saying that at some point in time, you and 50, I mean you and Puff were actually friends. And now this whole thing about you feel some type of way because he asked you how to he asked you could he wanted to take you shopping, and now you just you know what I mean. We live in a climate and era where even with the even though it didn't work for them, but Jim Jones and Cam, they hold little spat. It's like controversy. We live in a day and age where controversy sells. And I could definitely see in these jokers like, yo, what we gonna do is we gonna act like we got a beef, we gonna put a problem, and we gonna soak up everything. You know what I mean? Everybody's
Mhm.
going we gonna be must see TV. Now we know we ain't really beefing, but we same thing that these boxers do nowadays. All these you almost the weigh-in is bigger than the actual fight because
They
it's
gotta
so
sell it. They need people to buy them pay-per-views.
and that's my point. How many times I remember when I lived in Little Rock, so good boxer too. He was real good. He just caught a bad string of bad luck. But my boy Jermaine Teller,
Mhm.
I forgot what the weight division he was in. I remember meeting him. We were going to the same church at one time, and this when Jermaine was still undefeated. And I remember meeting him. I was like, "Yo, man, you pretty nice, yo. I ain't really in the box like because I had already switched over to UFC, and But every once in a while, I would watch boxing. I actually went to a fight out there. They had like this, it's like a battle royale. Him, Andre Ward. It was like 6 different fights in one night, and I got the chance to go, and it was like pretty good, especially being in that fight and being that close ringside and all that. It was pretty dope. Um, but I remember talking to him after the show. I mean, at the church one day. Actually, we were walking in the church, and I said, and his whole thing was, "Yes, sir. No, sir. Thank you, sir." Like real mannerable dude. I'm like, yeah, yo, I'm not that old, bro. You ain't got to call me sir. But it was just ingrained to him. And then I would see him in post game fights. Like, you don't even look natural trying to talk junk, like, because it's not your nature. You know what I'm saying? But I realized then, okay, this is a part of the business. They want to hype you, like you said. They got to sell these fights, so you got to say a little stuff out of character. Shakur Stevenson after the fights. Oh man, you don't want no smoke this here and that thing. It's like after each fight ends, they always got another fighter in the ring before they make the who announced the winner. They'll try to sell the next fight that's going to be 3 to 6 months from now. I think that 50 of them might be using this blueprint. Like, who would have ever thought the day that you would see 50? Because we always talk about once 150 cut you off, he cut you off for life. We always talk about Ja Rule and all that did. Who would have ever thought that 50 and Fat Joe would be cool again? Who would have thought? That was like his first major beef. And we thought that was going to get to the level of Big and you know what I mean, Tupac, because Fat Joe, he about that life for real. Supposedly so is 50. But to see them jokers courtside today at a Knicks game, buddy, like, come on, man. Like, did y'all fugazi us? Did y'all do some trickery with us? Like, it might have started off with a beef, but y'all might have ended that beef long before we known it as the public. But said, you know what? We can make so much money off of this. Let's run with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Puff like, look, I ain't gonna pay this dude because I don't pay nobody. But what I'm gonna do is 50, I'm letting you know this footage is out there. You buy it up. I'm gonna act like I got an attitude, like how you gonna do me like that? And that's how we gonna sell it. Cause don't get it twisted. Puff is a marketing genius.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to sell. He knows how to sell himself. He created this whole Diddy persona, and I always said that too. Why you gotta change your name like every so often?
Yeah.
You know something shady is going on. From Puff Daddy to Puff to
P Love.
to P Love, Brother Love, Diddy. Like, and there's one scene in the documentary where he says something to the effect of, y'all witnessing greatness. Like, it's almost like watching Jesus have a moment or an awakening, because Jesus Christ, the Son of God, that's the only person that I compare myself to. I said, yo, this dude done lost his mind. He lost his ever-loving mind comparing himself to Jesus Christ. Like, he's gone. But it was kind of disturbing. But to me, more or less, the documentary didn't tell me anything that I didn't know already. You know what I'm saying? It just goes a little bit more tell, but Dennis Green said it best. He is who we thought he was. That year when he was talking about the press conference where made the sound bite. You know, they are who we thought they were. Diddy is who we thought he was. You know what I mean? And I feel bad for them. Like, even the dude, what's his name? Little Rod or whatever. Like, come on, my dude. And that's the thing that made me look at people sideways, because he didn't start this stuff in the last 2 or 3 years. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's almost like R. Kelly all these years. I got a problem with people that want to stay quiet for 10 years because they're eating off of it. But now all of a sudden you get a conscience 20 years down the road and say, you know, something got to be done about this. Why didn't you say something when you saw something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't really want to talk about her at all because people always I keep those conversations personal. But excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for Cassie. You know what I mean? Now, for people that's real victims of sexual assault and things of that nature, there, my heart really goes out to them. But I've literally heard with my own ears in personal conversations with females, I've heard countless women say stuff I will never understand. But I've heard women say to me, literally, if a man doesn't put his hands on me, he doesn't love me. That's their reality.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is not a victim, and I'm not condoning none of his behavior whatsoever. But that little incident that we seen at the hotel, I can guarantee you that wasn't the first time. They've been together since. And even how he took it from Ryan Leslie. A lot of people don't know who Ryan Leslie was or didn't know who Ryan Leslie was, but I've always been a big fan of Ryan Leslie. But I don't know any of Cassie music. I can't tell you one Cassie song. You know what I mean? But you're willing to put up with a whole lot more even when we was watching the trial. I kept saying to doing the trial, like, one, it was, to me, that was a whole publicity stunt too. Back to how everything is a stage, orchestrated stage play now in my terms. Because y'all knew good and well, when have you ever seen a RICO case for one person?
That's my thing. Like
come on, man. I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe. Even John Gotti never had like, you know what I mean? They go after the mob as a whole. You just got people within it. You can't have a RICO case against one person. And then even all the testimony, even with the dude, whatever his name was, I forgot his name now. But Diddy never made those phone calls. It was always Cassie that set up the hotel rooms. It was always Cassie that made the phone
Look
calls.
who getting sued. The strippers that they hired.
Yeah.
They're suing Cassie for $5 million because they said she was the one who paid them. She would call them. She would arrange for them flying out.
And she was the one that gave them the money.
Yeah,
that paid
and
them.
this is the other thing about that I don't understand is what he got charged with. Everything else, it was like not guilty because, like you said, is no such thing as a one-man RICO. And the other thing was the people who flew across state lines that was flown across, they was willing participants that got paid.
Exactly.
Like the one of the strippers even said, it was sometimes I went and I ain't even have sex with nobody. He's like, they was paying me for my company.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so they charge him with crossing state lines for prostitution, but in any court, nobody has got the high sentence that he was given.
And we know it happen all the time.
But that's the thing is, and I tell people like Cassie she's gonna get hers. Like, I'm not gonna say she's not a victim of domestic violence because I don't know what the context was for her heading to that elevator or what.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw this dude come down the hallway in some flip-flops and a bathrobe.
Absolutely.
And knock her out clean and drag her back. Now, she's a victim of that, but all this sexual, I think she was just as freaky as he was.
Absolutely.
And being a freak is not against the law. Especially when it doesn't matter like your power. Okay, well, I'm gonna sleep with Puff because I'm gonna get this record. Or I want to, like you have so many people in Hollywood. Like, look at the dude that's suing Tyler Perry. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I got the text messages. I
Mm-hmm.
got texts of him talking about how good my body looked during filming. The thing is like everybody is an opportunist. And what the thing with Puffy has shown that these NDAs don't matter.
It
If
don't.
you them NBA players that have them females sign them NDAs before they even go out or whatever, they don't even matter because they're like, shoot, if I say he did this to me, forget him suing me for $1 million. I'm gonna be able to get interviewed on The View. I might
Mm-hmm.
get a Netflix special. That's the reason why, like, I don't want to get off subject, but all them victims of the Epstein Island, they was on the door, the stairs of Capitol Hill during a press conference and talking about we got the names. We're gonna put our own list together. How come they ain't do it? You literally had the nation watching you. You was on the stairs of Congress. You saying we got the names, we're gonna put them together, we're gonna release them. Where's the list at?
Mm-hmm.
Because they waiting for that Netflix special. They waiting for Netflix or somebody, probably Oprah or somebody, reach out to them and say, "Hey, I'm gonna give you $10 million to do this."
And the NDA stopped meaning anything when what was old girl name? The porn star with Trump.
Man, but that right
The
there,
first the
I'll be
first
honest with you.
term.
If she got a handwritten letter that she wrote with her signature on there saying that I ain't do nothing with them, you know, like how much evidence is her handwritten note? Like, but that's a whole thing. I just feel like them NDAs now, if you that famous to where you getting all that money, that's why you got all them dang on foreign soccer players. They putting everything in their mama name because soon as their wife divorce them or file for a divorce, they think they're gonna get half and found out Ronaldo, whoever the guy, he had a $500 million contract, and when the wife took him to court, they sitting in there, and he brought his mama in there, and he's like, "My mama give me $1,000 a month allowance." He had the team pay his mother, the house his mother bought, everything. She thought it was all his. And that's the thing right there where God, and you can't hate on that because you have so many people out here, men and women. Who is that? Got to pay up child support. Cardi B. You got Mary J. Blige, you got Holly Berry paying child support and all. I think Holly Berry pay almost, I think 20,000 a month, to her, to her dude. And it's like you have opportunities just out there. So the harder it is, the more famous you get, the more like you're gonna walk around paranoid because you don't know who there is for you and who there isn't for you. That's what I tell my
And that's
son on
that's my
social
point.
media. I said, don't post when you come up on something, don't post anything. One time years ago, he posted something when he got a promotion. I text him, I was like, dude, delete that. I said, because you're gonna have people that want to be around you because
Mm-hmm.
they want to like use you, they want to get on your coattails.
Yeah.
I
Everybody
said,
don't have good intentions.
yeah, you keep your stuff clean, and guess what? The people around you are there because of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can't defeat everybody that way, but at least you can cut a lot of the, um, these thieves out here. You
And
can
that,
at
that
least
that's the point that I
minimize
was
that.
making earlier, because like even with the little ride dude, this mug is on camera talking about there was days, not a day, not a time. There were days I would wake up sore with a woman in the bed, and then it was other days where I would wake up sore when he was in the bed. Like, dude, why didn't you like? Why is it days? Why is this multiple times? Because did he promise you that you was gonna be producer of the year that particular year when you got with him and was working on his album? So you stayed around for that. You still thought like And it's more or less of a moral question. It's more of a rhetorical question, but it's just I just don't understand because my viewpoint has always been there is no price. I don't believe I have a price, but I always we say, what's your price? I don't have a price. You know what I mean? I'm not compromising my integrity um, for anything. I don't care if it's $500 million. I'm not doing nothing with another man sexually for that money because
Yeah.
once I got that money, now I'm gonna be on all kind of drugs, alcohol, trying to forget how I got that money. It's gonna always be a reminder how you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people be like, man, shoot, that ain't gonna make me gay, but I'm gonna get that 500,000. If that's 500 million, if that's the way you feel, more power to you. I can't miss nothing I never had.
Yeah. You're right.
I never been a millionaire, so if that's the only way I can be a millionaire, guess what? I ain't gonna be a millionaire today. I ain't gonna be a man tomorrow. I ain't gonna be a millionaire ever because it's not worth me my sanity or me compromising myself. Now I'm not judging anybody that does make that decision. I'm just speaking for myself. But it's like, what makes you is fame and fortune really that important to you? That where you will put yourself in positions where you're going to all these different parties, you're going to the industry. We've heard it all the time about the boule and the secret society and all this kind of stuff here, even with some of these hardcore rappers that we love and respect. Hey, listen,
Hmm.
you're gonna have to go in there, they're gonna do whatever, but this is what you're gonna get in return. And for you to say, I'm with that, I just look at you, I look at people like that differently. I just look at
Yeah.
it like differently. Like, I don't believe that it just ain't worth it to me. I'm gonna leave it at that. It just ain't worth it to me. But I thought it was like kind of comical for this dude to say that on it was different days, which mean that it was more than one time.
Hmm.
I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail. You sexually assault me, I'm going to jail. Period. Point blank. Because I promise you, you go. I'm gonna be the last victim that you ever have. I promise you that. And if people, oh, Mar got locked up. You mean don't matter why? I'm telling you though, I'm going to jail. Period. But you know, and again, my heart really do go out there because to real victims. Um,
Yeah.
because and that's the other thing too. There is no there is no time limit. There's no statute of limitation on when you don't know whether it's shame, you don't know whether it's fear, you don't know what people are, what their motives are when they tell their truth. And there's one thing I remember having a moment one time. I believe like in the beginning when we first doing the show, I forgot what we were talking about. I believe it was the author, the book, the episode I did with the authors, female authors, through it all still standing. And I had to start surveying. I had to think about it. I said, man, I don't know if I can really think of any woman that I know personally that hasn't been violated in some type of way just simply for the fact that she was a woman. And that was heartbreaking to me. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because you should never be a victim just for the simple fact that you're a woman. You know what I mean? You didn't do
Yeah.
anything at all to deserve to be sexually assaulted, domestically, just for the simple fact that you're a woman. And that's the only reason that happened to you. That's disheartening as a man. You know what I mean? So I get it when people start talking about we need to do a better job of protecting our women, and that got sidetracked for a bit. Okay, um, that's really disheartening as a man. So I get it when they say we got to be better protectors of our women and our community and things of that nature there too. But it go both ways. Like y'all have to allow us to be men. That doesn't mean that we're
Yeah.
better than you. It doesn't mean that we're more dominant than you. Everybody was laughing at the post that I made with the whole. I found the challenge that a woman can't do that a man can't do. and he's sitting there, he quiet, and she said, "What's the challenge? What can a man do that a man can just about anything a man could do, a woman could do too? What's the
Yeah.
challenge you talking about?" And they steady yapping, and steady going off, and steady going off, and it's like this whole, I won't say inferior complex, but what is it about trying to show men that you're equal to us? And that bothers me because we're not equals. We're not talking about civil rights. We're not talking about gender equality, things of that nature. There is a fact. Is a fact that no matter how manly you are, you cannot push a human being out of your body.
Yeah.
We are different. Doesn't mean that one is greater than the other because guess what? You need a seed and you need a womb. So you need both of you to create a baby in some shape, form, or fashion. You know what I mean? It takes both of us. So let's stop this whole superiority. Well, I'm the man, so I'm supposed to be leading, and I'm the woman. I'm gonna be submissive, but only if I agree to be submissive and all this. Like, yo, we don't need to be working against one another.
Yeah.
There's too many obstacles out here for us to be going back and forth with one another, having attitude with one another. You got a role to play just like I got a role to play. My
Hmm.
role is not more significant than yours. Like I was having a conversation with somebody about the same thing, and I was talking about equal. Like a woman is a woman. Now, it doesn't mean that you're less of a woman if you're barren and you can't have children. You're still a woman. Now,
Yeah.
psychologically, you might feel less than, but you're still a woman. You're equal as another woman. Same thing with a man. If your sperm don't work, you can't have kids, don't make you less of a man. Just mean that you're different, but you're still a man. So I just don't like when like I said, this fake competition between men and women. Because it takes both of you. It really takes both. That's one reason I'm always so against like divorce and different things. That's just a personal thing. But it's just like when it comes to children, I believe that it should be every child's God given right. That's just my belief to be able to talk to both their mother and their father. I shouldn't have to wait the next weekend to talk to daddy or mommy. You know what I'm saying? Like as a
Yeah.
child, you should be able to, because there's certain things that you're gonna want to talk to your mother about. And there's certain things that you're gonna want to talk to your father about. And as a father, I don't need for you as a mother to understand the choices that I make on me fatherhood, because your role as a mother is different than my role as a father. You know what I mean? So I just want to see us do better as far as being a community and get back to the old ways. I was talking to my mom one day, and I said it's sad to say, but it seemed like as a race, as a culture, we was much better off back in the Jim Crow days and in the South days in the 50s and 60s, because even though we had to worry about the violent aspect, we had family unity. We supported one another. We was more of a community and all that there. But now everybody got their own little money. It's like everybody fending for themselves. We so busy, we ain't got time for this here. We ain't checking to make sure that the kids, the neighbor's kid is hungry. That ain't none of my business. I'm just worried about me and mine. And I think that I don't think that that's a good look. I don't think that that's a good look, man. We got to get back to community oriented, making sure that we know our neighbors and we know our neighbor kids, and they know us and things of that nature. There, I just think it makes for a better community when makes us a stronger community when we stick together and we unite instead of just always going at each other or worried about ourselves and just mind our business. That's just my personal take. Um, but you said you ain't see it, but family over everything.
Honestly, I'm getting ready for finals. So
Okay,
I've been doing my final project is due. So I've been spending time working, focusing on that. But I really don't anything about that. Like I didn't watch the R. Kelly thing. I didn't watch the Michael Jackson thing. I didn't watch anything that Oprah put out because I feel like she, I tell people, if there's a documentary that needs to be done, it needs to be done about her school in Africa. That the headmistress now is spending life in prison for all the girls she was sending, into to do adult work.
But
And
you're
it's
a
like you
black
have,
man, Sam. You can't be talking about Oprah like that, man. You can't knock
man,
the
she,
sister.
all the land she's stealing from them people in Hawaii. Like, man, she is like, I just tell folks like let's stop. I don't like to spend my energy on that. So I've been spending more time watching like stuff about history.
Hmm.
Just of course, like shoot 'em up, bang bang, as my wife would say. But I just like I appreciate that, Dorothy. This is actually my fifth degree I'm getting, so it's a benefit of the military. So I figure why not? If they paying for it. Look, my wife said he gonna be going to class until he leave this earth. But yeah,
If they paying for it, don't leave no money on the table. I ain't mad at that.
yeah, and with her saying that, I want to point out something that my in-law would say. A lot of times he would say, I don't got that education that you got. I said, Pops, well, you have something that's even more important, and it's called wisdom. I
Hmm.
said, some of the stupidest, ignorant people I know are college educated.
Hmm.
Some of the wisest people I know don't even got a GED.
Hmm.
I said, I would trade any day of the week wisdom over education.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's the thing. So, some people be like, oh, he always in school and, he trying to be a brainiac. I just like learning about different stuff I don't know about. Like I like constitutional law because, especially in the climate we're in, I like IT stuff. I like certain things. I like grass, cutting the grass and learning about that. So I think next I'll be at NC State. They have a 4-year program for turf management. So even though I'm not trying to work on no golf course, I like, people in the neighborhood call me the golf course man, because they come and they cross the street and then they take their shoes off and they walk on our grass barefooted. So I told my wife, she was like, "You ain't gonna say nothing," and I'm like, "That's a compliment." Anytime somebody take their shoes off so they can feel your grass, I said that's a compliment right there.
I'm like wifey, man. I'm gonna be like Stanley in Friday. Get off my lawn, get off my grass.
Yeah, I don't got nothing else to do, but that's the thing, and I didn't mean to go off on that, but just when Dorothy said that, I don't hold especially nowadays. Me
Hmm.
personally, I don't hold college in such a high regard because I feel like all these colleges now, especially since student loans got federalized back in 2009, it's like they just about the money grab.
Hmm.
And on the the other podcast I'm on, we talked about that and we covered the nursing, being a professional degree and all that.
Yeah.
And we had a nurse on there,
Hmm.
and this was a nurse for over 20 years, and she said the first day of class they say that it's not a
Hmm.
professional degree. And we pull up the text and everything, and I'm like, it's so funny that I see everybody on social media and stuff talking about they changed the text. Now nursing, physical therapy are no longer on that. But I pulled up the original text from 1963. That's what they've been using. I'm like, it's never been on there.
Hmm.
And I said they basically said a professional degree was any degree where you had to do at least 6 years to do that. You can't be an attorney unless you have your undergrad and your JD, which is 6 years. You can't be a medical doctor unless you have 6 to 8 years. You can't, there's certain things like you could be a nurse with just 2 years. You can be a physical therapist with just 2 years. And I think just people, I said on the podcast, I said, do you want to have the prestige of a title or do you want to save lives?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're getting to a point like I noticed this one girl, she had I was talking to her husband and he was talking about, yeah, she we went to one of her friends' graduations and she saw somebody getting their masters. So they put their hood on and she's like, I want that. So she went and enrolled for the easiest masters, a graduate degree program, graduated. Now she wants people to call her doctor. So she's about to go back to school to get in debt to get her doctorate so she can put doctor on her license plate. That's the
Yeah.
stuff right there where I tell folks like, you know, stop getting your feelings hurt and instead of relying on what people saying on social media, read the text for yourself
Mm-hmm.
and you will see it was never in there. Like never ever. So you coming. So I just tell folks, just like with the stuff with all the stuff dealing with the history and all that stuff. That's why I love constitutional law because it's studying and that's why I got my general statutes up here and stuff. Because in the other podcast, I crack it open. When somebody say, "Oh, somebody's like breaking, going against the Constitution," I said, I understand if you can say something is not ethically right, but constitutionally, it could be right. So I just tell folks like, I like to read the books. Like, I don't like to talk about stuff I don't know about. That's why, you've heard me on the other podcast talking about Kamala's book. I didn't want to just talk about and see what Fox is saying about it or whoever is saying about it. I bought the book and I read it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I can instead of saying, "Oh, somebody said" or "so and so said," I can read for myself that she threw Obama under the bus. She threw Gavin Newsom under the bus. She blamed everybody for her not winning, everybody except herself. So that's the thing. I just try to tell people like let's start doing our own research when it comes to anything. You know, I I think the only people I know that don't do zero research and they shoot, going blind are Dallas Cowboys fans. Beginning of each season, they putting in PTO because that's the year they're Cowboys. This is the year we going all the way. I think those are the only ones that's delusional. I mean, I'm not even like that with my Lions because just like last year, you going into the playoffs with 19 starters on injured reserve, and you mess up when you try to bring them all back the same game.
Yeah.
So,
Y'all
they
and
just
San
lost their
Fran got
tight end.
hit by the injury bug.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why now I'm just glad my Lions is no longer the bottom of the barrel. That I
Yeah, that's
think they're
good
gonna be.
enough.
Yeah, I mean, like the daughter says, she don't just want to be an owner. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
her parents kept her out of the football stuff because they wanted her to run Michelin and Ford. That's why her name's Ford Michelin. That's why every Ford you buy got Michelin tires on it because
Mm-hmm.
their family making that money. And once they passed away, she took the reins. She was like, "Nah, I'm running this," and she got rid of all them dang on contracts, restructured all those deals, and look at her now. Now they've gone to like being a contender each year. They may not win it each year, but they're definitely a contender.
Isn't it funny how they do that? Them conglomerates. I always try to tell Steeler fans that too. Like, don't matter who win the Super Bowl between the two of us. They bought all the same family. Like the
Yeah.
actress Rooney Mara, because the Maras and the Rooneys are married. That's why her name was Rooney Mara. The girl from the dragon with the what's the name of
Mm.
it? The girl with the dragon tattoo, something like that. There.
Yeah, yeah.
Like funny how they just do that. And even when you like the old overseas, different countries, how they still got
Yeah.
the arranged marriages because we got to keep this money in the bloodline and different things of that nature. There,
Man, I wish a lot of people don't realize this, but black folks in the 50s, the 40s and 50s used to do arranged marriages.
mm-hmm.
And the way people look at arranged marriages, they think of like in some of these countries where you never meet the person. But all an arranged marriage is your family vetting, like for the women,
Yeah,
is your family vetting the one that wants to date you.
mm-hmm.
They're your gatekeepers to protect you. And once the dang on that's one thing, the civil rights movement, all that stuff. I mean, I think it was needed to a point, but when I saw all the entire black community, like like nowadays, a couple weeks ago, everybody's like, we boycotting Black Friday or we boycotting Target. And we go to Target, like we don't my family, we don't boycott. If we need something, we go to where we can get it for the lowest price.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we go in Target, it's filled with black folks up in there. And I walked up to this one guy. I was like, "What you doing in here? We ain't supposed to be in here." My wife was like, "Stop saying that to people," you know. But I'm like, you think back to the civil rights movement when they had the bus boycott, the black bus boycott. That lasted 18 months. And now people think it's something if you boycott for one day or a week even. So it's like, I just think we gotta we need to get back to that mentality of those 40s and 50s when we were villas. Like when they did that bus boycott, every brother and sister that had a vehicle was carpooling. Everybody was working together.
Mm-hmm.
Once that got done, and then JFK got killed, and then FDR took over, and then they allowed that Margaret Sanger to like wreak havoc on the black community. Like it was over. We you can't get us to work together for nothing. Like
That's what
it's
got to be changed.
yeah, and because my neighbors are from India, other neighbors from Belgium, like some from Africa. Like the neighborhood's real diverse, and I see all them jokers just working together, like just buying from each other. And that's where we was at in the 40s and 50s.
Mm-hmm.
We supported. If Dorothy had a knucklehead going down the street acting up, I could straighten his butt right there. But
Mm-hmm.
now in today's time, I tried to straighten him. Dude, pull your pants up. Guess what? She gonna be banging on my door. Don't be talking to my boy like that. If you got
Mm-hmm.
something to say it to me. That's what happened to the village.
Yeah, and
So
that's what
I
I
just
was saying. We got to
yeah,
get back to that though, whether they want to or not. Like we thrive more as a community when we work together.
yeah. Well, I hope so. I hope I hope something happens to where it gets back to that because right now it's not looking good.
Yeah, we
I
losing.
told somebody we got about till 2032 and black folks won't have no vote, like no voice. Because Hispanics going to be the majority. They looking out for theirs. These Somalis, they looking out for theirs. Everybody looking out for theirs except us. We allowing them to split us all up.
Dorothy said, "Please talk to my ex like that. He's a fool." FYI, a while back, every public transit bus in Texas put a plaque on every first seat is dedicated to Rosa Parks. That's what's up.
But see, this the thing, right? People talk about how racist Texas is, right? And I said, they've been celebrating Juneteenth for the longest. Like it's been a holiday for the longest.
Because that's where it happened at.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying, like you have people here in North Carolina and stuff saying, "Oh, I ain't even know that." And I'm like, you don't understand. I say also, like Six Flags. A lot of people don't understand how diverse Texas was because it actually used to be made up of six different countries. That's why the flag when you go to the state capital of Texas, they got all six flags done, hanging up there at the state capitol. That's why they created the amusement park Six Flags. First one was in Texas.
Mm.
So it's like, I tell folks just it- like the biggest thing right now I hear people talking about, oh, now MLK is no longer free to get into national parks for free. And I'm sitting there like, I don't know one black person in my life or in my circles that on MLK on that holiday they ain't at a cookout. They definitely not going to the Grand Canyon. They definitely not going to the, oh, it's do I go to this picnic, this cookout, or do I go to the Ashboro Zoo? Nobody is going, but everybody's like fussing about national parks aren't open on MLK Day for free. Nobody was going. So they looked at their budget on all the people they had working, and they're like, it's not feasible, for us to, to have this when hardly nobody goes. So I just think, we got to start as a people, we need to start researching and understand that we don't need a government to tell us when we celebrate something. When it's in your heart, it's in your
Period.
heart.
Period. That's how I am with the holidays. I acknowledge
Yeah.
him as the host of the show, but at the end of the day, I don't care how much you say it. Jesus is not the reason for the season. It was a marketing play way back in the day. I celebrate the life of Jesus every single day. I give thanks every single day. I don't wait to just the fourth Thursday in November. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
that's neither here nor there. But I'm going to get up out of here, man, so I can get ready to go make the donuts.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. I'll be back in Greensboro area Thursday.
All
Putting
right.
a layer, have my paint suit on and painting this house. Boy, I've been doing all this prep work. I said, now I know why them contractors charge so much. I ain't never done so much sanding in my life.
But man, yeah, I hope everybody has a good week. We got, I think it's what, just two more shows left in 2025. I can't believe it's December already. But I'm working on something. I know usually the last show of the year, I usually share something that the Lord gives me to share. But I might have someone else do that this year. I've been praying about it. So we're gonna see if that could come together. And then next year we'll probably next week we'll probably do like a recap of some of our best moments or some of you guys' best memories of 2025. Um, but I'm gonna look forward to seeing you guys on next Tuesday. I hope everybody has a good week. Y'all stay blessed, stay safe, stay warm, bundled up again. Uh, I appreciate you all and know that I love you guys. I'm always here for you guys. Like I always say in the last couple of months, please check on somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, especially during these holiday seasons. These holiday seasons hit a little different for a lot of people that have lost family members, that have lost loved ones, especially around this time of the year. Some of them, this is the first holiday season without that loved one in their lives, and so let's make sure everybody's good, man. Let's be that community that we were talking about. Let's check on one another, make sure everybody's good, even if it's just dropping them off a plate, uh, inviting them over to you so they're not alone or different things of that nature there. And I understand some people be like, I just don't want to mess the mood up and all that there. But one of the things that I learned years ago is when your fist is balled up, you can't receive anything. So A lot of times we cut ourselves off, we cut our own blessings off, but you never know. You might not feel like bringing somebody else's spirit down, so to speak, but your presence might be exactly what they need. So you just never know. Let's stop being so selfish or selfish and selfless, and include just let's think more community wise, and being a part of something other than just ourselves. Because we all benefit from one another in some shape, fashion, or form, man. But again, hope everybody has a good week. I love you guys, and I look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday. Continue to keep me in your prayers that I get over this cold and this sickness. Check out Sam and the Winners on Thursday. And as usual, signing off, DeAndre and Elisha. Know that Daddy loves you intentionally, but I also love you unconditionally. Till next week, peace.